Greetings, diners, and welcome to another edition of the Collapse Cafe here on the Doomstead Diner. Well, I'm back again. This is my second video coming from the new cripple cam that is attached to my EV cripple cart. And I'm sitting out here in the garden waiting for some birdies to maybe come and visit us while I make my conversation about the collapse of industrial civilization, which is upon us. And news for today, which I read, is that the petrodollar has died. As of June 9th, the agreement, which was made in 1973 between the fascist states of America and Saudi Arabia, which priced oil in dollars and basically required everybody in the world to have dollars in order to buy oil from the Saudis and all the rest of the OPEC nations along with them, is what has driven the worldwide demand for dollars over the years, which has allowed us to sell U.S. treasuries and to finance our ballooning federal deficit, which now is, well, in the multi-trillions of dollars, and the interest alone costs more than it costs for our military and our Social Security and so forth. It is becoming expensive to pay the banks these days and keep up with the loans. And each year and each month it gets a little bit worse. So with the expiration of this agreement, that means that the global demand for dollars will diminish. Other countries will be able to borrow, say, Chinese renminbi, that's the currency of China, or Russian rubles, and use those to buy oil with if they need it. And that is, of course, the driving energy commodity for most places. You need it for transportation needs, for heating, well, more for electricity and so forth. It's also natural gas, not just oil, that we're talking about here. Fossil fuels in general. So this means that it's going to be a lot more difficult moving forward for the U.S. To sell its treasury bonds. That means that interest rates on those bonds will likely rise, and that means also mortgage rates rise with it. These are things that the market determines as much as Federal Reserve does with their setting of interest rates. So we have a lot of headwinds in our economy moving forward. We have bankruptcies ongoing in many industries. The banking industry has a lot of problems with commercial real estate right now. The restaurant industry and hospitality industry has a lot of problems due to the rising costs of the minimum wage and minimum wage workers, and also the holdover from the time of COVID. A lot of people gave up on restaurants, and the rising cost of food in general has made eating out much more expensive. So the restaurant industry is in trouble. There have been many bankruptcies in that area as well. And as I said, commercial real estate. And then we have the automobile industry. As I think you might have heard, the Biden administration added 100% tariffs to Chinese EVs. The Chinese are way ahead in their development of electric vehicles in terms of their price, the features available on them, the number and the variety of EVs that are out there. They have them in all categories, from the luxury ones right down to really small, fairly low energy required devices that would be great for doing all your local shopping, local commuting, stuff like that, that are coming in the $10,000 range, which is getting affordable. Right? It doesn't no longer means setting yourself up with a loan book that's going to be 5 years to get it paid off, paying $400 a month. You can pay it off in 3 years with, $100, $200 maybe a month. Or if you're the smart type, you save your money and buy in cash. That's the way I've been buying my cars for the last 30 years, buying used cars, and of course not EVs, but gas-powered vehicles. And I haven't had a loan paying a car, since my late 20s. And it's very important, staying out of debt if you want to stay away from being a wage slave and indebted to the banks for your whole life, from your college loans to your mortgage to your car loan and so forth, your credit cards. Being a debt slave is one of the big problems that faces many Americans, even beyond the fact that good paying jobs that can cover all the costs of living there aren't enough of them, and they tend to be reserved just for the very top level of our society. And that distribution of wealth has created a lot of problems for the society as well. We have a very small class of powerful people and a very large class of powerless ones. And those are the people that are being shoved off the cliff as our industrial civilization winds itself downward. We have a massive, massive homeless problem. There is a very large refugee problem that is going on, because as bad as the situation is here in the fascist states of America, it is far worse when you get down into South America or Africa, and so people in those places are trying to leave. Besides their economic problems, they have climate problems as well. A lot of water issues. The major cities of the world, Mexico City, Johannesburg, cities in India, Delhi, they all are close to what they call day zero, the day when the taps will run dry in the city. Many of them suffer water restrictions all the time. Water is only available out of the taps for a few hours each day, or maybe every other day, things like that. Electricity, same thing. They'll have rolling blackouts, brownouts going on a regular basis. Those effects mostly haven't hit us here in the land of good and plenty, but they are ongoing in the rest of the world. So when people say that, you talk about collapse and how our lives are going to change as energy becomes less and less available, but we don't see it. We can still go to the store, get everything we need, go to the gas pump, fill up our tanks, and so forth. So we haven't, our civilization hasn't collapsed, and that's true to an extent. But at the same time, there are a lot of things ongoing when you look around that tell you that all is not well. A very interesting story I read was about the U.S. military and their inability to find enough people to fill the positions as cannon fodder. It's not restricted to, but in very large portion, the male population, and is attributed to what they call a crisis of masculinity. Apparently, a 1/3 of the population now identifies itself as Generation Z as LGBTQ, in other words, gay or bi or transsexual. Well, if you remember, the military in general was pretty much against homosexuality. They had a don't ask and don't tell policy for many years. I don't know if that's still in effect, but that would, of course, limit their ability to attract new people. If a large percentage of the population is gay, then they're not eligible for the military. They wouldn't want to join. There's a lot of other reasons they don't want to join either. Veterans are pretty poorly treated these days. The money that you make as a member of the military is lower than you can earn in the outside world, which is not very good to begin with. You give up your freedom as a member of the military. You got to go where they send you. If they say, you know, we want you to be in Iraq, you got to go to Iraq and just, you know, be there in front of the bullets and so forth, defending our right to happy motor and defend big oil from terrorism and so forth. So that has made it difficult for the military filling these positions. Nobody wants to do it anymore, and it's one of the areas of our total package of civilization that is falling apart. You have a similar thing going on with the number of people required to do jobs in our society, like take care of old people and handicapped people. Places like the one that I am in right now have a lot of trouble attracting and paying people to do the jobs. There aren't enough nurses as well, so we've had this phenomenon of traveling nurses go on, where they're moving all around the country from one place to another to fill positions and making pretty good money. So that's one of the areas, if you are thinking about something to do, it's one of the probably better choices. Of course, it is very expensive to get an education these days, and that it becomes something to consider as well. A lot of people are choosing not to go to college because of the costs, and because, with the exception of some jobs like that, professional jobs, just a college degree by itself doesn't really help you very much in terms of getting a job. And tech industry has gone through a lot of layoffs as well. So it's hard for people, hard for young people, to find a direction and find a way to go. And as a result as well, it has led to fewer marriages, and even beyond that, fewer people choosing to have children, which has led to what they call a demographic nightmare or bomb. We talked for years and years about overpopulation and about too many people. Well, there's still too many people, but the way our financial system is arranged and the way all our our pensions and our Social Security system are set up. If there aren't workers coming up and filling the jobs, then paying the retired people their retirement money becomes more and more difficult. And Social Security is now going to run out of its trust fund by, I think, 2035 is the current estimate, at which time they're talking about a 20% reduction in Social Security benefits, which already are fairly low and not enough for people to pay the costs of housing, and that is one of the driving causes of the homeless situation and why so many people are ending up on the streets. So all of these problems are creeping up on us, and we have to do something about it, which is why I am encouraging people to go to the Democratic convention, which is being held in Chicago, and the Republican one, which is held in Milwaukee, particularly if you are currently homeless or if you are not well housed, in other words, like couch surfing, living with relatives, that sort of thing, or you in a situation, a shared situation, multiple families together, more children in one room, then it would be a good idea, you know. I mean, 1-2 kids in a room, okay, but you know, when you start to have to put 4 kids in a bedroom, well, that's gets pretty tough, especially if they're mixed ages and mixed genders, especially with all the different genders that there are available now. So I would like to see people out there in this election cycle actually making their presence known, not sitting at home and watching it on tube. Now, whether I can actually get there or not, well, I hope that I can. And with that in mind, I would like to start a drive towards developing a fund and a program that will help not just me, but other people to get to those places and what do you call it? Make their voices heard. So I would like to encourage you to visit the Doomstead Diner. You'll find us at chasingthesquirrel.com. All right, and if you go to the homepage there and click on Doomstead Diner, that's where you find our forum, and you can talk to us and find out more about the collapse of industrial civilization, about the reasons for it, the direction it's going to take, what things you can do to prepare yourself, prepare your family, not just in terms of the physical things, but preparing yourself mentally. All right, that is really the most important part for what the future is going to bring, because the physical aspects of it, some of them are, you know, questionable as to what you really can do in advance. But there's so many factors that it's really, in a video like this, it's too short to try to go through it all. And you can find a lot of other people on the net that talk about prepping and doomsteading and having a self-sufficient lifestyle. Those are worthwhile things to aspire to, but it can be difficult for people to get there also. So don't just, when you think about preparing yourself for the future, don't just think in those terms. Think about your mental preparation and preparing your children in their minds for the type of world that they're going to see in the future or have to live in. All right. I hope to talk with you more, be out there more with my new system, and hope to also talk with some people directly here, and do interviews again. You'll find a lot of my old interviews on my website, on my YouTube channel, and that also can be accessed. Just go to YouTube and put in Doomstead Diner, DOOMSTEAD space Diner, DINER, in the search box, and the channel will come up, and then you can peruse all the different playlists that I have there from past years of interviews. All right, that's all the doom this time. Until next time, I look forward to talking to you again before everything goes to shit. Hasta la pasta.